You gotta listen better. Just kidding.
I do need to listen better. No, no, no. I need to listen to the right people better.
That is well said.
That is well said.
That's
Maybe
right.
that,
Right.
maybe I could.
Like, I don't care what Bible, Quran, Bible, Jewish Bible, whatever those things are, they
Mm-hmm.
all say that. Every single one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you got to be careful who you listen. Choose wisely, but then listen. So anyway, we were talking about money, and then you told me about your
I think I want to go
what is
back to
called
that.
is your what is your call? That's your go bag.
Wait, wait, wait. I think I want to talk about that for a few minutes.
The go bag.
No, the who are you listening to?
I think it's the second most important thing.
What's the first?
If we're excluding whatever God you
Yep, yep. Mm-hmm.
as first, if we're saying besides that or whatever,
Yep.
the first is who you marry.
Mm,
I've heard the one thing I can remember that they all said when I listened to them, and by them I mean like super successful people that I admire and
yeah,
respect, and seem to not be like some people get money and they go spin out.
yeah,
Yeah, the ones who didn't spin out,
yeah.
they say all these different things, and I look for the consistencies amongst them. And the one thing that every single person I've ever pursued in the terms of like knowledge and listening to their podcasts and like,
Yeah.
and we could name their names, but every single one said the most important thing is your spouse. Every single one. And so
Dude,
it's,
I would say, and I'm not saying it because it sounds nice to say, I would say that's absolutely the case with myself too, because like I've always been pretty handy at making a buck. Like I've always, even back when, you know, high school and out of high school, I could always hustle, and when I say in the South, we have a different word for hustle, right? Hustle is like grit, doing what it takes,
hustle
making
is
it
like when
happen.
you hustle to get to the ball
Yeah, it's a
on the
good thing.
playing
Hustle's a
field.
good
Hustle
thing.
doesn't
Yeah.
mean that you're rolling dice on the corner and
Yeah,
fifth.
yeah, you're exactly right, right. So I could always uh figure out a way to make a quick, money. But you know what I was even better at?
So
Spending that money. I was really good at spending. I could earn well. Dude, I sucked at saving.
I've never had that problem.
Oh, it's been an embarrassing problem my whole life until I met Maria. And actually we were dating. So we dated for 4 years before we got married. 'Cause
Oh,
we were in college. And I
you were
met
at,
her on,
I'm just telling you, you were at the end of your allotted time frame.
oh yeah. Well, and so I met her my second day of college. So it's a whole
So
nother
you
story.
were 18 or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, as a kid. And a little
Oh,
older. I went to the Air Force first and I got out of the Air Force and then, but I think I was 20, something like that.
so you did 2 years in the Air Force?
Actually four.
So you were 22.
Actually, no. I did 3 years, 6 months, one day. They had an early out program to go to school.
So you were 21
So it's 21. There you go.
when you met her.
When I met her. Yeah,
And
when I
four
met her.
years later, you were 25 when you married her. Ish.
Ish. Yeah, let's call it ish. Yeah.
Nice.
So anyway, we dated for about 3 or 4 months, and I realized she always had money and I never did. And we made the same amount. We both had part-time jobs. We
Huh.
made the same amount of money, and she always had money. Like she'd reach in her wallet to grab her driver's license, and I'd see green stuff in, and I'd reach into my wallet, and there'd be dust. Like there's a vacuum, there's a sucking noise inside mine. And so, literally, we were about 4 months into it, and maybe not even that long. And she took control. No, yes, that sounds wrong. I asked her, "Would you
Three or
please
four
help?"
months in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you know what you're really good at?
Tell me.
Self-awareness.
Oh, dude, I sucked, and I knew I sucked. It wouldn't take much. That'd be like Shaq O'Neal having self-awareness that he's tall,
Yeah, I get you.
right? So this was
Blatantly obvious.
a blatantly obvious thing. So, and we never ever fought over. Yeah, but Maria, I need this money for X or Y or Z. Like once I handed over control, I had the wisdom to know that I sucked at this.
Yeah,
And
you let her be the CFO.
yeah. So back to our original topic, though, of who do you follow or who do you listen to?
Yeah.
one thing I've learned is we're all walking around with our umbilical cord looking to plug into somebody, all of us, like
Oh,
everybody, all
if
of us.
and I say this to our coaches, and I talk about it with like my sons, uh, is that I'm not a woman, and I grew up with a brother, and I have five sons. But I think it's universal that yeah, your parents are two of your mentors, most likely.
Hmm.
You know,
Hopefully,
if you're
hopefully.
lucky enough, hopefully, right? Not always. And if they're not, then you need to be aware, especially aware of this. You better have five or eight serious mentors in your life, and you
Hmm.
better be aware that you need them and be like looking out for them
Hmm.
because sometimes they'll offer it, and I see people not accept it,
Hmm.
and sometimes the wrong ones offer it, and I see people accept it.
Hmm. Oftentimes,
Yeah, that's the worry, right?
that's a whole nother subject. How I picked my mentors still to today. This has never changed. Is I have a couple rules. I was going to say one rule. So a couple rules. Rule number one, they're ethical, right? I
For
gotta, I
sure.
gotta, I gotta admire them as a person too. Like if they're making a bunch of money and then they have this,
Bad behavior.
yeah, a bad behavior. They don't need to they don't know how to behave themselves at events and whatnot.
Yeah. So you're talking about the lesson my dad taught me, which was I thought I could hang out with people who had bad behavior and not have bad behavior.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen.
It's not really that.
Yeah, that's not
It's
gonna happen.
yeah, yeah.
So for me, the one rule other than ethical, the one rule I always had was or is they have to be a master of doing it and they're doing it now and they're better at it than I am.
Uh, that is magic.
Yeah.
Used to could doesn't work for mentorship.
Wait, what,
Used to could
what was that last part?
it doesn't work for in mentorship.
Yes.
It doesn't mentor like I had a track coach that used to could. All my track coaches used to could,
Uh-huh.
and that works, right? But a mentor is different. A mentor is one-on-one. A coach is a team.
Mm,
That's the way I think about it. Now, is there exceptions? Absolutely. 80% is 100%, but mentorship is like usually not something you pay for, but not always. Like who was your very first mentor that wasn't a parent? Like a father or a mother, not a parent like obvious. Like who was your first mentor, whether you were conscious of it at the time or not?
I have never thought of it this way, but without question, one name pops into my head is my Uncle Dale. So Uncle Dale, who still I'm blessed, is still a part of my life today.
Why?
Well, I'm going to be a little shallow here.
It's okay.
He always had pretty girls hanging out with him.
He looked like he had a great life.
Well, why I had, wait, here, listen to this. Why he had pretty, what? He had a lot of people around him all the time, right? Um, and the reason why he had a lot of people around him all the time. So now we're going back to like when I was 5, 6, and
Yeah,
7.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
not. Yeah, you weren't fully educated as to choosing mentors and what you
No,
would
no,
you would
no.
what really was is you admired him.
So everybody loved Dale. And the reason why everybody loved Dale? He was a fantastic storyteller, or still is. Dude, you know what he does for a living
He was
today?
entertaining.
He was entertaining, he
It was
was
fun to be
engaging,
around.
fun to be around, always had just stories. You know what he does for a living now? So he's retired, right?
He had a good time.
Yeah, he's done well for himself. You know what he does today?
What?
So he's retired, doesn't have to do anything, right? He's done well for himself. What he does today is he works on one of those dolphin boats in
What was that?
Brunswick, Georgia, taking children in a boat, sighting dolphins.
How
And all
fun.
he does all day long is tell stories on that boat to children on their first dolphin run. Isn't that cool?
I would bet he doesn't have to live.
Oh no, he for sure does not have to.
That's fun.
So yeah. Yeah, but I
So that
always
was
thought,
your first mentor when you were five, you early going on, you looked up to him and you looked up to him and you admire, like for whatever reasons at the time.
yeah, yeah. Well, everybody liked him, and who doesn't want to be likable?
So now we go one more step. You ready?
Tell me.
I always ask for three, but I'll take less.
Okay.
What are one to three things, traits that he has or had that you now have? Because I can tell you the first one for sure is storytelling, my brother.
Yeah, I've been told that, and I'm not saying that's just being overly
No, no,
humble.
you, like you tell, like when me and you are communicating and you're trying to coach me, mentor me, and I do the same for you sometimes, right?
Yeah.
My style is a little more direct,
Yeah.
hard to misunderstand. Your style is easier to accept,
Mm-hmm.
which is more influential, right? So, and it's the storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing that you copied that you admired from your very first mentor, right? He
Mm-hmm.
always had great stories.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think when you look at him? What's one more?
Kind.
He was always nice to people, kind.
Always nice. Especially the underdog.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Give me one more.
You know, he
If there
he
is, those
he
two are
no no no.
amazing.
He's never so busy that I'm not important to him.
Yeah, so when he always made people feel like he was interested and and gave them some time.
For sure. Now,
Yeah.
keep in mind, so usually when we talk about an uncle, we think of an older, man or an aunt, older,
Mhm.
you know. In this case, we're only 2 years apart. Hey, I'm from Zephyrhills, Florida. That's how we do things down
I mean,
there.
that's cool. So you're saying like he was only a little older than you, and so he was truly a mentor, whether he knew it or not to you.
He was a cross between a big brother and an uncle. We lived about
Yeah.
a mile apart from each other down a dirt road,
Yeah,
kind
probably
of
more
thing.
big brother, but like a really cool big brother.
A really cool big
And
brother.
because you weren't his little brother, it was easier for you guys to like,
Yeah, like we never fought to this
right,
day.
because there's no sibling rivalry.
No, yeah, no sibling rivalry.
Yeah. So
But
here's
I
here. Wait, hold on. I got to make
okay.
this huge
Oh
point
yeah,
to
keep
people.
going.
Listen, this is
Keep
this is
going.
like a home run thing, especially as a parent for people, right?
Okay.
So if I asked a bunch of people, Carl, that have been around you a long time, they would tell you that you're a really good storyteller and you use it as a really good tool to communicate.
Okay.
They would tell you that you always seemingly always make people feel important and that you have time for them and you don't brush them off and that you listen when you're engaged. Like you definitely make me feel heard and I've seen you do it to no matter what level people are at. So so those are the three things you mentioned about him, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing. The younger you are, the bigger impact they have. The older you are, unfortunately, time, whatever, set in your ways, old dog, new tricks, they certainly have impact, but the mentors in your life that you choose or that your parents let you choose or whatever have the biggest impact on you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
Like you may think of others that had big impacts on your business, but those three things carry through to this day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Don't you think?
Yeah, but I don't think it's a whole lot different than business.
Oh, it's not. Like, who's your first mentor in business?
It's a funny thing. I had about three or four all come into my life at the same time. I'll tell you one. Remember, and he died not too many years ago. Remember Greg Frost?
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
I I'll I'll pull out Frost, How to Hire and Train Assistants at this very moment.
here, you want me to grab my copy of it? I'll show you. I'll
It's
show
this
you.
thick, it's
Yeah,
paper, and I have a
that's
binder clip
right.
on it.
That's it. Yeah,
And if anybody touches like Rebecca, she knows that
yeah,
it's you don't mess with it.
yeah. You know what I really learned from him though? Stage presence.
It was so awesome.
He was so awesome. So he could write a book about stage presence. And he was definitely the gentle giant.
Never,
He could,
never, never was in a hurry.
no,
You never saw him sweat.
no,
And it didn't matter what happened, it was no big deal.
yep. So he could have written a book about how to influence from the stage, but instead of doing that, he was doing it. He was actually doing it.
Mm,
And I learned more from watching him
watching.
do it than I would from a book that he might would have written.
He
You know?
modeled for you, but you chose him.
Yeah, and I for sure, I for sure, I just fell in love with that
He
man.
passed
So
away.
he did.
He was also Todd's first and big
Oh,
wink in
dude,
the
I'm
business.
sure there's so many, so many. It was just such a giant.
He
And
made me go watch him. When I
mm,
first got hired, I was 27 in the mortgage business, and
yeah.
he made me go.
Hey there. Hey, if you're loving the tips so far, be sure to hit that subscribe button right down there and then tap the little bell so that you never miss out on more free cool tips coming your way. Also, I would love to hear from you. Drop a comment beneath there. Let me know what you think or tell me what you'd like to hear next.
Yeah.
He
I
did a
met him
ton of
in,
loans, and he was Texas, right?
no, he was in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
New Mexico.
Dude, you want to hear a stat? I'll never forget
Yeah,
this
I
number.
do.
In Albuquerque, New Mexico, not a small town, not a small town. Albuquerque, New Mexico, he had a market share of 11%. 11%. Now, if you had a market share of Palm Harbor of 11%, it'd be impressive. If you had a market share of 11% in Pleasant Garden, North Carolina, it'd be impressive. You have a market share in Albuquerque, New Mexico of 11%. That's like unbelievable.
If you have 3% anywhere, you're legendary.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, 11%. But again, so it goes back to that mentorship. He was actually doing it. I saw his results, and it's not something that he did 10 years ago that now he's talking about. Like he's actually doing it. Yeah.
That's how we build a coaching program, right?
Yeah.
And it's like and we expose the people in our program to lots of coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And there's going to be one or two of those coaches that they talk about later. It's not going to be everyone. It's not supposed to be every single coach.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what people sometimes get hung up on is it's a special thing to like have a mentor, and sometimes you don't really realize it until after.
I would say that for sure.
So
Mm-hmm.
I talk about it with my boys all the time that they need to pursue mentors because there are people like me, like if you came across a young adult, boy or girl, whatever, young adult in their 20s, figuring out their business and whatever, and they pursued you even kinda, and they were respectful and had good ethics and morals, and would you take them under your wing for free?
I have.
Me too,
Yeah.
because people who have been mentored will mentor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One thing that I have found though, I have found if they don't pay money, they don't pay attention. I have found that too, though. Now
That's without a doubt. It's without a doubt that when you pay money, you'll accelerate
hmm
everything.
hmm Yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's something about it. It's just, like for me, I know when I buy something and then I find myself, like I bought a bicycle and then I find myself not riding it. I went, I went and bought an $8,000 bicycle. I'll be darned if I'm not going to start riding that thing. And so, I don't know if that came into play or not,
Oh
but I,
yeah, you look at it and you're like, what am I doing?
yeah,
And it's kind of what I hope for the students in our program is like sometimes. So I coach the coaches every week. I coach them on their business, and then we work on being better coaches and all that stuff. And they're most like 99% of their time they're doing loans. Um, and you know what their biggest frustration is with like students
tell me,
that that it takes them too long to plug in, and they it takes them too long to learn the forms to track their business. And you know what's funny about that?
what's that?
On that very call,
Yes.
some of them didn't turn in their forms.
Hmm. Isn't that funny?
Well, I mean, it's weird, funny.
Yeah.
And what it reminds me of is to tell them often, and anybody who might listen to this is no one said how long it was going to take you. And some people it takes 6 months and they're plugged in, but that's the fastest. And some people, I've been coaching 25 years. I've seen it take 2 years, and then they have a epiphany, like a wake up moment. But the only thing that stops you, the wake up moment, is giving up.
Hmm.
If you just stay with it, eventually everybody will have that moment.
Hey, you know what? I saw that small pivot here for a second. You talk about like one thing, like all of our coaches, like everybody in our coaching program is coached by somebody that's closing more loans than them this month, last month, the month before. That not back in 1942,
Yeah.
like now that they have a bigger pipeline. The coach has the biggest pipeline of everybody they're talking to. And you think, well, is that really in that important? And I used to wonder this myself, buddy. I say, is it really that important? Because once I know how to do it, I mean, I could teach it and not have been doing it for decades, right? And it'd be the same until I saw the stats the other day that you shared with me that 87% of the next level coaches are students, the coaching members. So
And
Jimmy and I have a group that we personally lead for the first 90 days, and then our coaches help us out, and it's called the Alliance Next Level Coaching. And you shared with me a stat the other day that 87% of them
that did not quit,
that didn't quit, of course,
right? Because some quit right away. Like we
of
have
course, of
about
course.
10% quit.
Well, of course, of course. So 87% doubled their business in the last 18 months. What they quit, they didn't make the 18 months, right?
Yeah, right.
So 87% doubled their business, doubled their income in
And
the last
their units and their income.
in their last 18 months. Doubled. 18 months, doubled. That's impressive. Dude, if Apple Computer was to double their business the last 18 months, they would be ecstatic. Right? That's a remarkable number, man. 87% doubled their business. Now, that's not to say, and I'm just going to make, so now that's a fact. Now I'm going to make up some numbers. That's not to say that of the 13% that's left, maybe three of them increased by 70%, and
Yeah.
maybe five of them increased by 90%, and some was only 50%. Dude, 50%, you do half again as much in 18 months. That's something to be proud of.
It's kind of remarkable. And the ones who don't usually came in already doing like, if you're already doing 15 loans, getting to 30 and then 60, it's just as possible. Like the ones who didn't, it doesn't matter what they started at. It's
No.
not like, oh, these all people started at one and now they're doing two.
Right, right. No.
They could afford coaching.
Right, right. Yeah, they wouldn't
You know
be
what I
in.
mean? Like,
Right, right.
so it's like people think, oh, well, it's easier if you're here or it's easier if you're there. It's not easy ever.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? That's a great point because you know what? I found for me going from 4 to 8 units was just as easy as going to 8 to 16.
I thought 8 to 16 was easier.
Well, get this. And then I found that going 16 to 32 was just as hard as going from 4 to 8. In other words, like it's the same thing.
Oh yeah.
Like it's I'm not going so they're both challenging. I'm not going to say, "Oh,
Oh,
piece of cake.
yeah.
No big deal." Because it's different,
No.
like once you go from like going from 0 to say 6 is just salesmanship, saleswomanship, like however you say it, like salespersonship, right? It's just learning sales. That's all that is. Once you for me, once I went past 6 per month, now it starts becoming team based,
That's
different skill set.
like what you're talking about is like I hate the word training. I don't know why, other than I never see them as very useful. That's a whole different conversation. Like if I go down that rabbit hole, it'll be a long time. But what we're talking about is skill development
Yeah.
and skill retention.
Tell me what you mean.
Like you ever play golf?
No, I know that this might
Bowl,
hurt your story, but no. Bowl,
darts,
sure,
bowling.
sure, bowl, sure.
Like you go play golf and every day, well, I can relate it to running because I can relate it to both. But if you're on track,
Yes.
right? And then if you don't run for
Okay.
3 days in a row,
Okay.
you will lose between 10 and 18%
Really?
of your outcome.
Really?
Like, no, we're talking about elite. We're talking about
Yeah, no,
peaking.
I get it. I get it. I
Right.
get it. I get it.
But if you're like a track guy and you're trying to run the 400 meters, and let's say you're a
Yeah.
50-second person, right?
Yeah.
And you're training and you're peaking and all this other stuff. And then like and then at the end of the season, you ran 50 seconds for a 400 meters, let's say in high school.
Okay.
You didn't run at all for 3 days, and then you ran a 400 again, you would run between 4 and 8 seconds slower
In 3 days.
in 3 days. And so I'm saying that's like a super unique story, but what I'm saying is like your skills and your capacity, that's a capacity issue because running is not necessarily a skill, I don't think.
Yeah.
Um, it is constantly deteriorating
Unless you're constantly building.
unless you're constantly sharpening your skill. You have to, like
Interesting.
in golf, your golf skills are
Yeah.
constantly deteriorating, and then you have to be constantly sharpening. And
Mhm.
the story is like this is a big old guy. You ever been to a lumberjack competition?
Oh, sure, sure. I
Those are
have.
the best. Throwing
Oh,
axes and sawing and
dude.
climbing up and sliding down. It's the most fun I've ever had.
Yeah.
And I never did it. I always wanted to. It's one of the things I wish I would have given a shot when I was younger. Anyways, there's a story about this famous competition on TV, and there's this big burly guy with a beard, and like he was bald, and he was just like happened to be bald, but it's a picture I have in my head because I saw
Yeah.
it. Big, strong guy like Mr. Clean with a
Yeah.
big beard,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
clearly a lumberjack. And it's that saw with two handles,
Yeah.
but it's the one man saw. So you got that saw, and it's a one man saw. And he's up against this guy who looks kind of like me, wiry,
Normal. Normal.
older
Yeah.
than
Okay.
him, right?
Not all jacked up.
And they start the competition. This happened. You can find this on YouTube. I'll probably take some time and try to find it again. But the big guy's like just jamming, and he's way ahead. And the little guy, me,
Yeah.
skinny guy, wiry guy, he's kind of rhythmic, and then he stops and he grabs a file and he files his blades for about 30 seconds, and then he goes back at it. And the other guy's way ahead of him, and then about halfway through, you're like, he's catching up. And he stops again and he sharpens his blade again because it's not a little log. We're talking about a log,
Yeah. Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
4 foot tree
Yeah.
route. So it's not like a 5 minute competition. Like it's like a 25 minute. They're sawing these log, like 25 minutes of sawing.
Yeah.
He
Serious.
stopped twice and sharpened his blade, and he whipped him. The other guy was worn out, but more importantly, his blade was worn out.
Mm.
So he had to do two saws for every one at the end.
Mm.
So at the end, the other guy was like passing him like he was standing still because his blade was dull.
So the moral of the story is hone your craft.
Well, if you don't jump on DSP every day and make calls, like I can make cold calls, can you?
I can make cold calls for
I can
sure.
make cold calls. And what I know about making cold calls is that I prefer to do something else to get business if I could.
For sure.
But I think that I've got to call people I don't know
Sometimes. Yeah.
for lots of reasons. Like
Yeah.
it's a whole different call. But when I choose because whatever, and I don't cold call for a month or two in a row,
Yeah.
I'm not very good at it when I first start.
You lose that muscle.
But muscle memory is real. It'll come back.
Mm-hmm.
But getting started after if you've been dormant like that is is
Mm-hmm.
is weird, right?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that crazy? You have that skill, but you kind of stink at it for a little bit. It comes back faster to you because you
Mm-hmm.
had it in the past. But how much time do you spend sharpening your skills in your business? How much time? That's what coaching is. So every other week for an hour, you're sharpening your skills with other people who are sharpening their skills.
Mm-hmm. I always I think of this often when I fly, when I'm getting on a commercial flight. So I used to fly private little Cessnas, right? Little tiny Cessnas. And
Don't do that.
yeah, I'm not going to do it anymore. It's funny. I've thought about taking it up again. I
Don't
have.
do it.
Yeah,
You're not allowed.
I
Flying is not a hobby, it's a profession, Carl.
yeah, and you got a point there. Anyway, I always envied the commercial pilots for their training because it is impressive
And repeatedly
and repeatedly, and
throughout
that
their whole
even
career.
yeah, and even a captain or a captainette that's got 30,000 hours under their belt, which is a lot, they still X amount of times per quarter They have to go through flight safety school and they go through the simulator and they turn them upside down and backwards and engine out and engine fall off and all this other kind of stuff. They still do that so many times per quarter.
And they have to be certified specifically for the planes they fly,
Yeah. So
right?
you gotta sharpen your craft. So anyway, all right, we gotta finish this up. Hey, 87%
18
doubled in the
months.
last 18 months. I want you to think for a minute for yourself as you're sitting here listening to this. What would that mean to you? That if you were part, if it was 18 months ago, if it was 18 months ago and you had started then, you'd have an 87% chance of having doubled your income in the last 18 months. That's an impressive number. I don't care what you made. I don't care if you made 50,000, 550,000, or 2 million. You double your income in the last 18 months, like 87%. I mean, I don't know about you, Jimmy. If somebody said, hey, you got an 87% chance of winning the lottery, I'm buying a ticket that week, right? 87%.
Yeah.
It's not guaranteed, but it's 87%. That's almost always. You want to see how we do that? Would love to talk to you about that. Go to mmademo.com, mmademo.com, like mortgage marketing analyst, right? mmademo.com. And ask when you get on the horn with them, you'll go to what it does, you'll go to calendar and you'll book a time and a time and day that works best for you. And on that call, tell them, hey, walk me through how you cats got 87% of them to double their
Hmm.
income in 18 months. And we'll show you exactly what we did. We'll hold nothing back. And I think it'll be a very good use of your time. So see, we need to get a URL 87%.com. I wonder if that's
Well,
available.
it may change next semester.
It
Could
may
be
change.
97. No.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. So mmademo.com. Would love to show it to you. Jimmy, love you, man. You're always always great hanging out with you, my man.
Always.